Welcome to the first edition of the Frontend Coffee Break, a podcast where we take a break from everyday lives, grab a cup of joe, and discuss different things about frontend related topics. Today, we are here to discuss a very interesting topic, but first, let's do a little bit of introductions. I have my colleague Ricard. Hello.
Hey guys.
And I am Chucho or Jesus Castañeda. We're both front-end engineers at Netcentric, and well, we're just here to have a nice discussion about different topics. And today's topic, as I said, is blogs. So, Ricard, let's begin with that. What is a blog?
Hmm. A website?
That would be like a very simplified version. Of course, well, most of the blogs might be, or you can see them in websites. But what would you say it's a blog?
A journal? Maybe.
I see it more like a journal, like a My Dear Diary kind of thing, like digital version of the My Dear Diary. But this is something I think that I've associated with the internet, like from the very beginning when you were seeing these old movies, those that started hinting about the existence of internet. I don't know if, for example, there's one that you've got mail, and that you started seeing. Okay, internet means emails, and
Hmm.
but then you see in the movies you saw people that what they did in the internet was writing blogs. There were a lot of movies that when they talked about internet, they talked about, oh, I have a blog, I'm writing a blog of this, a blog of that. There's a lot of movies regarding this. But well, a blog in the end, it's precisely as you say, just a journal where you can put many different
Anything
topics,
really? Yeah.
things.
Hmm.
So let's begin talking a little bit of our personal experience with blogs. I mean, let's begin with you. You currently have a blog. Could you tell us a little bit about this, or if you had other
I,
blogs before?
I'm ashamed to say that I have many blogs, too many blogs actually. Whenever I think about something, I create a blog. I think my first blog, which I still maintain, is from 2007, a travel
Okay.
blog in Spanish, which used, I don't know, a blogspot from Google, and then I migrated to WordPress. But yeah, but also like development blogs. Even my cat has a blog, so I have a problem. I know, but blogs are great, man. Blogs are fantastic, and I do love to share stuff. And I mean, it helps you with friends, family who you don't see often. You just share them a link with photos on your trip, whatever, and it's convenient. What about you,
So,
Sucho?
in a way, a little bit of a way to not exactly socialize, but
Uh,
socializing a little bit.
yeah, maybe.
Well, I currently have a blog that has only one post, but I opened it last year because I wanted to get into blogging again. But I've had, with not counting this one, I've had two other blogs. The first one was a blog that I had in a page that was called something like getalife.com,
Uh-huh.
which was a running joke that I had with old friends. And I got the domain and started writing in WordPress. I installed, got the domain, got a server, installed WordPress, and started writing different topics. There were more personal things related to fun things that I did on my own personal time, hobbies and this kind of things. And I wrote from time to time one articles about things that I just found interesting. And then several years later, I took it a little bit further, and I actually created my own blog. You would say I created the engine to write articles, and it was more oriented to Magic the Gathering. That I wanted to write things regarding Magic the Gathering, and I created this website that I could write articles in different categories and this kind of things. But I've been trying to get back into blogging for, well, technically now over a year.
Nice, nice. Did you ever blog like technical stuff or only like personal and magic?
No, it was never. I never got to blog anything technical.
Okay.
At that point, I felt that I didn't have anything interesting to say regarding technical stuff. It was more of, as I said, more of my hobbies.
But
But
you have
you,
blogged, right? You
yeah,
have blogged in on the Netcentric website. You have blogged technical stuff. I've read them. I've read your technical blogs, and it's nice.
well, yeah. Well, last year I think that the article came out in the Netcentric blog. It was I guess it was the first technical blog that I wrote.
Cool.
with Lucas and Max. It was quite a nice experience. It took us some time to do it, but we managed to do it, and I'm very happy with the result. But you have a technical blog, right?
I do, man, for a while now. Yeah, I mean, whenever I find something that is not on a Stack Overflow, something that is not super easy searchable, I usually just drop it in a new post. Like maybe it's 3 lines of JavaScript, 3 lines of CSS, something that I had a hard time figuring out. I just create a new blog saying whatever, not blog, sorry, a new blog post saying, okay, how do you, I don't know, how do you fetch this thing? How do you, whatever it is, like on our my main technologies, HTML, CSS, and JavaScript, and I it's useful. I mean, when I check the stats for the blog, I mean, I see people like, reaching out to the blog, finding the solutions that they were looking for. Like they were looking for, yeah, how to do things with JavaScript, and then you find it. And for me, it's like I don't know, a notepad for developers. And for myself, I mean, it's like I myself, first I do it for myself. I say, okay, if I need to do this again in 3 months or 1 year, I know what it is and I can just search again in my blog. Oh, there it is. And I copy the line or whatever and I re-implement it. So for me, it's like, why keep it private? Just open it, right?
This is something that I've thought more than once. That you're trying to figure out how to do something. You go to search for it. You find several answers, but then again, none of the answers are really exactly what you're looking for. Because or either the problem that you're facing is very unique to the work that you're currently doing, or maybe nobody. And this is something that I hate. Sometimes when you're searching for something, people just think that, oh, everybody should know this, so they think it's not worth writing it. Something very specific. Maybe you're working on a framework and there's a very specific thing that you need to know, and people say, no, this is like super obvious, so nobody writes about it. So you have to figure it out, looking for different sources. And in the end, more than once I've thought, well, it would be nice to have like a simple, well, I remember that I was thinking that to open something related, like a simple way to do this. So it would be like a simple way to, I don't know, float an image, just to say something very generic, or a simple way to write this, a simple way to do that. And it's nice that you actually go ahead and do it. It's like, I didn't find it. How do I do it? I figure it out, and then I share it, not only with me but also with the public.
With the world, yeah, yeah. And sometimes it's like documentations for tools and frameworks. I mean, in our case, like front end libraries or stuff, usually they don't cover like maybe some particular stuff or maybe different ways of working with, like as you say, with frameworks, right? And when you find something interesting, just share it, and it doesn't have to be long. I mean, I know that maybe some people have the misconception of, okay, a blog post should be a white paper, like it's gonna take me a month to write with lots of like fact checking and lots of images or text. I mean, no, it doesn't have to be that way. I mean, I think you can contribute to your community just by writing 3 lines and a snippet of code, if that's what the solution is, and you're done.
And that's the interesting thing, as you say, we usually associate blog with something very long, but sometimes the blogs could be just like three lines of text, a little bit of code, or maybe even go even longer. But blogs don't necessarily have to have a specific size to be useful. In the end, what you want it is to learn something from them, or just share some thoughts, or something. They don't need to have any specific size. So that's nice to say. But would you use exactly if you want to post something? Would you use this exactly the same tool? The same? Would you post it if all your technical things? Do you put them in your blog, or do you say, okay, this is super short, I put it on Twitter, or I post it?
Yeah, yeah, Elon Musk buying Twitter. I have. I mean, I like social media. I think it's we are like alone together.
Hmm.
But I really, what I really dislike about social media is like the algorithms, the being so ephemeral. Like you post something and it's gone. Like the Twitter stream is so fast and not searchable. Like yeah, I mean there's a search, but really like I really feel for people that create awesome content on Twitter, but then it's gone. It's like, why don't we just put the same thing you're sharing on Twitter, share it on your blog as well for keeps, for storage, for archive, right? And whenever you want, you can simply link it back to Twitter. I mean, I respect both worlds, like sharing only on Twitter, but why not just copy and paste it to your blog? You have it, you store it forever. Of course, not all tweets fit in a blog post, that's for sure. But
Hmm.
I really dislike like being in hands of corporations when like you and I see different Twitter feeds, right, or different Instagram feeds, and I really dislike that you cannot control what you see. So with blogs, you own it. It's your own content. There's no filtering. I can send you the link and you will see it, and that's it, right? There's no filtering and saying no because Chucho likes dogs or cats. He will see more of that, less of mine. That's I don't like it. So yeah.
Well, one of the things is that they say, okay, well, this is one of the prices to pay for a free service. Well, it's supposed to, am I right?
Hmm.
That you're not paying to post on Twitter and you get a lot of views and this kind of things. It's like that's the price to pay. But is it expensive to have a blog? Would you say that it's expensive?
I would say it's super cheap. Like, of course, you can go crazy, but for me, like if you think about it, the basic stuff is just having a domain. Like domains right now, maybe if you go to .com ending, it's super cheap, less than 10 euros. But if you go with new cool domains like .dev, I don't know, photography, .auto, these cool new endings, maybe 10 euros, 12 euros, super cheap. And then hosting, like you can either like yeah, like you've done it yourself. You've gone to WordPress.com, for instance, where they offer
Hmm.
you hosting for free, or you can just use tools that we have available as developers like GitHub. GitHub can be as a hosting platform for your blog, and it's just what's 10 euros a year? It's not even a coffee a day. It's nothing, right? So having a blog is no barrier for anyone, and there are tools that you don't have to be a techie to set up a blog, which is what I like about now that we're talking about this, like WordPress and their mission. The mission says, quote unquote, democratize publishing. Like
Hmm.
everybody can publish, and you're not in hands of just a couple of media corporations that they handle like publishing and what the message is to the public. But you everybody can, and I love it.
Oh, that's true. Right nowadays, if you want to write a blog or have a blog, you don't have to pay anything. You just
Exactly.
need to be able to connect to the internet somehow and to be able to post it
Right,
somewhere.
you're
But
right. So you could even have a like, for instance, let's go back to GitHub. GitHub offers
hmm,
like free subdomains, right? So you could even have like your name.github.io, and that's it. You don't have to even pay nothing if you don't have the budget. I would encourage you if you have a small budget, just 10 euros. It's worth having your name. Like it's way easier, and
hmm.
you get your own personal brand, and it's of course easier to type chucho.com than a longer subdomain.
I don't know if that one exists. Probably someone has it
Not
already.
anymore. Not anymore.
But yeah, I agree. I mean, you can always go for the subdomain option, and you can have the same subdomain in many other places, or you can go for your own domain. Which, if you have the money or you're willing to pay for it, you can always go for it. And even once you pay for the domain, you can even host it on free. I mean, on free places like WordPress itself. You can just buy the domain and then host it freely in WordPress, which is fantastic if you want to go on that direction. Now, what would be the besides the things that you tell? What else would you think it's a benefit for blogging? If someone is like, yeah, I was thinking about blogging. I'm not entirely sure. I've seen it. I am more or less interested in doing it myself. How would you encourage, or what would you say to someone to encourage them to start blogging?
Man, really, it for me, I had like fantastic experiences with blogging. Like with my travel blog, for instance, I got to travel to different countries, like sponsored by the blog. Like people find out my blog and they said, "I want you. We want to pay you to go to this country and take some pictures and do reviews."
Nice.
And I was like, "Really? Let's do it." And I went to Denmark and Portugal.
Wow.
Yeah, really. That's also like you meet awesome people. Like the of course in your niche of area, if it's travel, if it's
Hmm.
coding, if it's photography, whatever it is, right? In your niche you might find excellent people, and I met great people just by blogging and leaving comments on their sites, them on my site, and it's like that's okay, that's the fundamental of internet that we knew back then. Now not anymore with TikTok and Instagram. I hate it. But we have to go back to blogs, man, and RSS feeds and leaving comments. That's gold. What about you? What else do you see as a benefit?
Well, for me, blogging or writing itself, it's something that I've liked from a very long time. It's like an outlet, a creative outlet. I have this site. I have a lot of notebooks that I keep writing things in, but I just write ideas and then just forget about them and just keep on writing. I right now I have a tool. In Remnote is the one that I use to write down stuff, and I write a lot, and it's just like a creative outlet for me. But I also see, in a way, it's what you mentioned before. when you're trying to figure out how to do something and then you figure it out. And I think it's a very good idea to write it down, but not only to write down, oh, this is how you solve it, but maybe even to think about, okay, I'm gonna try to write it down to explain this issue to someone else. And besides the obvious benefit that is sharing that knowledge with the community, and in the end, this is how we all learn. Besides that, it's also, I really think that it's a fantastic way to learn, because when you're starting to write a blog, you have to structure the thoughts in your mind. You have to think, okay, so I'm gonna write about how to solve this issue. Now, what do I do? You can first start saying, okay, so I was the other day I was thinking about how to solve this, and then you have the structure. You have to think about how would you communicate this, and I think it's a fantastic exercise for yourself to even, it helps you learn it better. And well, I would say that that's the good bit, the best benefit, that it helps you learn whatever topic that you want to share
Definitely, it's like
even
the
better.
development, like the yellow duck that you have to talk to when you have a problem developing. And it's the same thing. Like you write, let's just say you write your stuff, and then things come together, and you learn more. Definitely, and you, I guess, as a blogger, you have a little bit of proud that you want to have like good content outside, and it's like not just posting a line with I don't know, syntax errors, or you want to like do it correctly. No spelling issues. You want to link to the correct sources. Like you want to actually help people, which will help you in the end because you're writing it and you memorize it, and now it's in your head. So I definitely see what you're saying. Yeah.
But my biggest issue with writing blogs, and that's a personal thing, is that I'm not that committed to these kind of things. That I know that it's recommended to have a commitment if you're going to start writing a blog. I think
You
that
don't
it's,
have to. I mean, do you think you have to? Like, I don't know.
I sort of feel obliged to actually do it. It's like, I need to write one post per month in order to make it worth my while, and that's something that I mean, I write a lot, as I said, and I don't share it, but thinking that I have to write it down and share it, and as you say, you want to make it good, it sometimes takes me, like, pushes me back, like,
I I
ah.
don't I don't agree, man. I mean, in the end, if it's your hobby, it's not something that you work for. Like, if you're a like content editor, content creator, yes, of course, you're getting paid for do that. But if it's your hobby, don't like anchor yourself to having a commitment, because in the end, for you, it's not going to be a hobby anymore, but actually like a chore to have to do that once a month. And it's like you're saying, I don't want to do it. Um, as a reader, as a reader of blogs, I appreciate like commitment. So it's like I appreciate it. So,
That's the issue, that I know that it's
because I mean,
appreciated
you know that
commitment.
okay, like YouTube, you know that every Monday or every Thursday or every Sunday it's gonna have a new content uploaded, and then you just simply go to the blog or to the YouTube channel, right? So as a content creator, it's fine, but again, if it's your hobby, you're not getting paid for it, and it's just on your free time. Just don't commit to anything and do it as you please, and that's more than fine.
Well, in the end, I guess that's important. That depends on what your purpose is. If you just want to do it for yourself, which I think it's the way to start. Yeah, I guess that you can always start doing it. If you post one every year, well, at least you're posting one
Yeah, it's more than
every
zero,
year.
definitely.
Yeah, it's more than, definitely more than zero. But that would be my biggest issue, the commitment. But as you say, you don't have to do it if you're not doing it professionally. And I used to have a theater teacher, and he was a fantastic writer. And he told me that, for example, that what something that he did is to make it a habit out of it. Every morning, when he woke up, he always sit down and write 15 minutes about whatever. I mean, it didn't post them. He wasn't posting anything, but he said that he just sat down and started writing for 15 minutes as a creative exercise, and then eventually these kind of things become habits, and it's easier. I mean, when it's a habit, it's easier. You don't have to force yourself to do anything. And this is something that I'm trying more or less to do, but I haven't gotten around doing it, honestly. But I mean, I got the blog last year because I wanted to start doing it, and maybe after this, I
Yeah,
will
you
try
got
to.
it now. Now you're committed. Now, if you've done a podcast about it, so it's time, man.
Yeah,
It's
I guess
time.
I have to start. But so imagine that someone out there wants to write a blog. So there's different options. Let's talk a little bit about the options. Imagine that someone says, "Hey, I want to write a blog. What should I do? I have all these ideas. I'm ready. I know exactly what are the things that I want to share. what would you recommend them to start? Where would you recommend them to start?
There's sure many options out there, and it depends on first your technical level. Like if you say I'm not a techie, I don't know anything, and I don't want to get my hands dirty with code, hostings, and all those things. I think the best option, first of all, would be what you just mentioned at the beginning, WordPress.com. We need to be very like clear here that we have like two products. One is WordPress.com, which is a company behind it, and they rent you the hosting and they handle everything for you. It's all UI. You just write and press publish. That's it, right? And then it's if you haven't seen WordPress before, it's fantastic. It's like what you see, what you get, sort of editor. Like you just write it, and more or less what you see there in the editor, it's going to be moved to the front end of the UI of the blog, right? But then there's WordPress.org. I think that's what you also did. Like you get your own server, your Linux server, whatever, and you install the software on the server. Is that what you did, Chucho?
I don't remember. No, no. I think that I got another random server that they have. Oh, I think the name was something regarding a color and a number. Don't
Okay,
remember exactly
okay,
what it was, but no, no. It was a server that had PHP, MySQL,
right.
and I got a package of WordPress and installed it all myself, like
Right,
from
right.
scratch.
So that would be like level two, for instance, like you already are comfortable with installing these things and going to the server, and you want to fine tune it maybe, or just own it because again, you don't want to depend on another company to host your blog, but you want to host it yourself. I think that's fine for most engineers here, right? But again, if you're just somebody non-technical, go for WordPress. Sure, it's gonna work for you. And then there's something I like very much. Do you know what Jamstack is?
No, I know that we've talked a little bit about it, but no, I hadn't heard it until you mentioned it some time ago. So please, what is Jamstack?
Thank you. So
Jamstack.
Jamstack stands for JavaScript API and Markup. Basically, long story short, um, sa- so how do you say this? Static site generators. Basically, like building a site that doesn't depend on databases or building things on runtime. Like if you go to WordPress, like if you're techie, it's PHP. There's a database there, so every time you open a URL in WordPress, you have to query the database, and they fetch you the post. And sure, there's caching mechanisms, but in the end, it's like querying a database. There's security issues involved. Anyway, the Jamstack changes all that, and then you just write your things like in Markdown. Probably already done Markdown in the past. It's very like you type things, tabulations, and I mean it's like a very nice way to write documentation, right? So when you have this Markdown, you then use a software such as you have Jekyll, you have Hugo, you have Gatsby, BuPress. There's many generators, and those things transform your Markdown files, which in the end is like text files, into HTML pages. But the beauty is that in the end, your server or whomever is serving the pages, they just serve static, plain HTML pages. There's no like database involved. There's no backend languages such as PHP, Java, and all those crazy stuff. No, no, it's just HTML, which is the basic language of internet, HTML.
So we just like a way to serve static files, text
That's
files.
it. That's it. I mean, you probably remember the first time you posted something in the internet, like a page. It was just HTML, right? Probably HTML, a little bit of CSS. So then we're going back now. Now to 2022, 2021. It's been a while now for Jamstack, but it's going back to this. It's back to having static pages which are super performant, fast, and you don't need like crazy backend servers to do stuff. I mean, of course you can have that if you are techie. You can have that, but yeah, if you're a front end backend engineer, I would really, really recommend checking out the Jamstack. We're planning to do a small tutorial on how to set it up, different types of generators in GitHub. So stay tuned for that in the following weeks in this channel.
Nice. One thing that I just remembered now that you mentioned this is I at one time I remember that I was walking around with a USB memory.
What?
Yes, it was called Dignity because my friend said that I didn't have any dignity, and I told them yes, I do, and it's 32 megas of dignity. And I was walking around with, I was just, I mean, literally, I had it in my bag. I was walking around always with dignity, and the idea is that I had installed inside it it was some sort of wiki generator, static wiki generator. I don't remember exactly what it was, but it was basically an HTML page built on. I don't remember the exact analogy,
Mhm.
but you can just connect, for example, my the the USB, you double click on the HTML, the first page, and then you can just write a wiki page, and it started
Wow.
doing everything that it needed to be done. And I took it with me for a couple of years until I lost my dignity. So I
So,
had no
so you,
dignity
you
anymore.
had your wiki or your personal notes on a USB drive, and you just,
Yes.
wow. I mean, that's very pre-internet, which is cool. Now it's just you would just host this somewhere, right, on GitHub or whatever, even private stuff. Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, back then I just wanted to always be able to, it's like, oh, if I was somewhere and there was a computer, I could actually write things, something
Yeah, yeah,
down.
and I think as developers, we're very used to, I mean, doing commits, doing pull requests, writing documentation. You should be writing documentation in Markdown and stuff. And I really push for, like, whenever somebody asks me, okay, well, can we do a small blog or something? Yeah, do some sort of Jamstack. I mean, in our case, like for Netcentric, in our GitHub organization, we have like this main website where we list all our repositories, and that's built with Hugo, which is again Jamstack. We just build the thing. The build time, it's HTML. Of course, we can connect and fetch stuff from other places, but in the end, it's just HTML, and it's so cool. If you're a front-end developer, check it out, because you don't need really like backend knowledge to build a super cool site with, in the end, HTML. Yeah.
And there's also options. I've seen colleagues that they don't even have their own blog, but they write blog posts and they host them. Well, not host them, but they send them to different websites, that tech websites.
That is
That,
true. That is true.
so
Like
that's also
Medium or what is
yeah,
it? Yeah.
exactly. And that's
Ah,
also an option. I mean, I know that it goes a little bit away from having your own blog, but
yeah.
it's also a way maybe to even start. Maybe even start tweeting things that you like, start tweeting, or sharing inf- blogs or articles or things that you like. Then the next step could be that if you don't want to still commit to a blog post, you can even write an article if you have a good idea.
Mhm.
Try it out and post it in one of these websites. Like, hey, I have this article,
Right.
and
Yeah.
maybe that could be also a way to
True,
start
true. It's
doing.
like more like less friction to get from having your words out there, published somewhere. Definitely, I see the value on posting there, and you have community there, Medium or other file. What is it, the one called for developers? Is it Dev 2, something like that?
I
And
don't remember. I
yeah,
tried to look for it,
ah,
but I don't remember which one it was. I didn't have the time to to go back
yeah,
to
it's
to
Dev.2, like Dev community, Dev.2, and yeah, you could post there and people can just read it. But again, I like to own my content, right? I like to own my content. And I could repost it. I could just write it in my blog and then just copy and paste it there. But again, what happens if Dev.2 or Medium, they change their policies, they go under business or whatever it is, and they close? You lose everything. Like, so I would rather have just two copies of it. Okay, it's not great for SEO, but at least two copies, not having always depending on somebody else's.
well, the one thing that I will have to try out, at least just to see how it works, is the hosting it on GitHub. I mean, the moment that you told me that you had that, I was really surprised. It's like, what, you can do that there? Is it too complicated? It's like, no, 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 it's super simple. I was really surprised, and this is something that I don't think that I'm going to be posting there, but I think it's a very interesting option, especially for those people that have already a Git account and that they're trying to, or they're posting their own projects and these kind of things. They don't even have to go outside this environment. They already have it there. They can start writing immediately their own posts if they blogs if they want to. And that's super nice.
Yeah. Look forward to it. Yeah, look forward to it. We'll do the tutorial very soon. So yeah, look forward.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to see the tutorial. Well, I believe that that's all the time that we have for today. It was a very nice experience, a very nice first experience. Thank you, everyone, for joining, for listening to us. And I'd like to end with a question for those that joined us today or heard this. Is like, what are your favorite blogs? I mean, if you have any favorite blog, any person or company or whatever that you follow, please share it, comment. I'd like to get to know more resources about bloggings that you find interesting, and this could help other people to see different blogs and see different ways of writing or doing blog posts. I don't know.
Yeah.
Well, Thank you, Ricard. Thank you all, and hope to see you again in the next episode. Goodbye.
Thank you, guys.